Mario Kart 8 is the newest game in the Mario Kart franchise and has been around for almost 10 years, with a grand total of 48 tracks. Being inspired by YouTuber Shintos and having nothing better to do, I decided to rank every single one. I gathered my Discord server to play through them with me in an incredibly scuffed competition with $100 on the line for the winner or charity. With my wallet in flames and cussing me out, let's start our engines and drive right on into the Mushroom Cup with Mario Kart Stadium. This is the starting track of the game, and just like previous games, it serves as the playground to understand how the new game feels and whatever new gimmick Nintendo came up with while most likely high. The gimmick this time is anti-gravity. The anti-gravity section is the perfect angle to show you how it's not just a gimmick, but can be used to shake up how tracks are designed. Looking down at the crowd and seeing them hold up a flag before you go on a glider ramp is a fantastic touch, and shows how much detail the graphics have in this game. It also shows how new things can mix with the old ones. And Mario Kart Stadium is the perfect introduction to everything the new game has to offer. The beautiful graphics, new gimmicks, and the amazing live recorded music. All this together makes for a very solid first track, and our first A tier. Next up we have Water Park, a track with water. I never would have guessed. This track never really stood out to me. It was always that one track that existed to teach you a returning gimmick, underwater racing. Other than that, there isn't too much to talk about this track. It has a big loop, a Wario-themed Ferris wheel, this one area that people won't shut up about because there's a Mario 64 reference, but I can never hear it so it doesn't get any bonus points for me. And the music is just okay. That's all I can think of. I may be a water enjoyer, but this track is swimming right into D tier. Fueling my sugar addiction, we have Sweet Sweet Canyon, a track that only half lives up to its name. There are plenty of sweets, but no canyon to be found. And no, I don't count this as one. The track layout, however, is actually pretty good. It starts off with some simple turns, getting shot out of a cannon, down a keg, and the first use of anti-gravity split path. The sweets look good. The amount of detail in the textures is superb, and the music fits quite well. C tier. Would have been B if there wasn't false advertising. The Mushroom Cup is coming to a close, and the final track is usually the final trial before sending you into the rest of the game. And Thwomp Ruins is that and more. I think this is when it sinks in just how much better this game looks, not just comparing it to other Mario Karts, but to other games as a whole. This track released on the Wii U, something less powerful than the Xbox 360. Yet it looks this detailed. Amazing. Taking place in, well, Ruins, the track is the perfect finale of the Mushroom Cup as it takes everything you have learned, anti-gravity, gliding, underwater driving, and split paths, and puts it all into one beautiful looking track. The Thwomps bring a nice challenge and really make the place feel lively while still being empty. And the music fits the vibe of old abandoned ruins perfectly. I couldn't think of a more perfect ending to the beginner tracks in our first S tier. We are now moving into the Flower Cup, historically where the game really shows you what it has to offer. This game is a bad example though, as we start off with Mario Circuit. This track is certainly one that exists. It's the track the game is named after. Despite the layout literally just being Figure 8 Circuit version 2. I actually think this is a good track. I know, shocking. I'm surprised they made driving on a literal 8 fun. The tight turns, the Goombas, Piranha Plants stopping you from taking the turns too tight, the visuals, and even the music is a banger. And it's just the Mario Kart Stadium theme but with different instruments. I love the detail of going around Peach's Cap. This, by far, is the best Mario Circuit and a very good B tier. Next up is Toad Harbor, an overrated ride through the Mushroom Kingdom version of the Boston Harbor. I do like this track, however when comparing it to the other tracks in the game, it just feels way too basic and safe. The vibe of a seaside town is really pleasant, the visuals are lovely and the music fits well. Being by the ocean, driving deeper into town, and even being able to drive on the side of some buildings, but not doing that as it is slower than having attachment issues and hugging the stern. I just never liked it all that much. Nowhere near the worst track, but not anywhere near the best. C tier. Twisted Mansion is a Luigi's Mansion ripoff, and I'm tired of pretending like it isn't. All you do is drive in, go into anti-grav, see some tables, and all of a sudden it's flooded. And on that note, who left the faucet on? You're driving the water bill through the roof. And I feel bad for whoever has to pay that. The layout isn't really that interesting, and the music is not that good. It tried so hard to live up to Luigi's Mansion. But in the end, it just shows you that you can't really beat Luigi. F tier. Shy Guy Falls.
Finally, some good food.
This track is amazing in every aspect. All visual details are a treat to look at. The layout taking you up one waterfall while boost panels take you up to a U-turn, to going down another one while the current brings you to a glider ramp which launches you to a diamond mine where Shy Guys sing to the beat. On that note, the music is a certified banger and fits the location perfectly. I also love that you can see the waterfalls from the starting line. It shows you that you can have a whole adventure while not really going anywhere. A fantastic detail. S tier. The Star Cup and the Mario Kart games are said to house the greatest tracks in their respective games. This game is no different according to the general opinion. Do I agree with that notion? Sunshine Airport is what starts us off here. Unless you are 5 years old and have chosen your first hyperfixation, or you have this really cool prank idea to do with the homies, I don't see much appeal with this one. For an airport, very little time is spent in the airport. For some reason, baggage claim is outside. Outside isn't that interesting either. You go through a plane randomly. Okay. You get shot up to this random anti-gravity section. Okay. You go down after one turn and land on the runway, which is too small. Nothing really stands out here. It just feels like generic Mario track with plane. It would feel good as a Mushroom Cup track, but not the cup of peak creativity. C tier. After going into the sky, we are jumping out of the plane to dive back down to the water and into Dolphin Shoals. This track is a run-through nature, a very beautiful run-through at that. You start off by jumping out of the water with the dolphins. Good start. And then they just kind of peace out after that. They were there though, so it is safe from false advertising. After the jumps, you'd go into a cave with pipes blowing air. This makes for a fun time. Then there's this big-ass eel over here. Why is it here? Who knows? But you can jump on him and do tricks, so it'll get a pass from me. After the eel, you jump out of the water and the sax goes wild. The music on this track is what saves it from a C tier and puts it in a safe B tier. Hey, get out of the pool and dry off. It's time for a rave. Electrodome is the first and only track in the series to only be one word. How quirky. But this map deserves the quirk. The music is astounding, really setting the mood of a Eurobeat style rave in my opinion. Take it as you will, I don't get invited out. The anti-gravity usage really complements it well with the split pass. The flashing lights, the music, the layout, the head-bopping piranha plant, it all makes for a truly great track. All I wish is I was invited to the party in the background. Maybe next time. A tier. Kids, it's time for you to leave the room, because it's time to take a trip up to Mount Wario. Weird track name aside, this track is marvelous. It is one of the few tracks in the series that are 3 sections instead of laps. You start off by jumping out of a helicopter and driving down a mountain. Then you get into an icy cave, a dam, a forest, a ski track. So many locations, so many things to see, and the music complements it all. It changes based off of the location you're in. Not to mention, it all looks gorgeous. To no one's surprise, this is an S tier track. Moving on to the Special Cup. This cup is supposed to be the real final trial, to test what you have learned and to see how you have improved. And starting off, we have Cloud Top Cruise, a wonderful run through the clouds. You start off on a beanstalk and jump onto the clouds. A short time on the cloud later, and all of a sudden you go onto one of Bowser's incredibly small airships. He must be undercompensating for something. Jeez. And immediately get shot out into this thunderstorm, where you dodge lightning and try and hit the boost pins. After escaping, you glide onto a giant stone question mark block, with Gusty Garden Galaxy fading into the music. On the topic of music, to reference a white guy with brown hair and glasses, the music is orchestral bliss. This track is an adventure and a very deserved S tier. Bone Dry Dunes. Well, that name doesn't lie. It is bone dry. F tier. Bowser's Castle. This track sure does exist. I'm sorry, but this track is just a mix of most Bowser's Castle that came before it. Fire bars, lava, giant Bowser statue. Nothing really unique about it. I know people say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It may not be broken, but it's gotten stale. The anti-gravity could have been used in much better ways. Same with gliding. Don't you think it'll be fun to fly through the middle of a castle dodging fireballs being shot at you? They could have done so much more. The only thing I really like about this track is the music. Not counting the 2D Mario Karts, I think it is the most forgettable Bowser's Castle in the series. C tier. Coming to the end of the Special Cup, we have Rainbow Road, the true test of skill. The finale to show us what the gimmicks can do, a tradition that started all the way back on the SNES. However, the 8 incarnation doesn't do that, at least to the potential that it could. The theming is great, the execution not so much. They could have done so much more with the anti-gravity. You know, the main gimmick of the game, as well as the space station beat. The only part where I can tell it's an actual space station and not dried out from Star Trek is the part with the conveyors. And that is extremely small and doesn't explore anything. The split path after the cannon shot could have done more. Other than having a shortcut, there isn't much more to these. The music does slap though. Why else would they keep using it over 10 years later? C tier. We have finished with the Nitro tracks, and we are now moving into the Retro tracks. And in the past, Nintendo hasn't done much with them. That has changed. They decided to rethink these tracks with the new visuals and gimmicks in mind, starting off in the Shell Cup with Moo Moo Meadows. This track turned from an okay starter track to a beautiful thing to look at. The music is amazing. The skybox is breathtaking. That's sunrise, man. It looks like a brand new track, and that is going to be a trend you see with 8's retro tracks. It may be a simple track. Heck, the only thing to avoid is moles, cows, and grass, an enemy that most Mario Kart players have never beaten. But this is a great track. B tier. Mario Circuit! No, not Mario Circuit. Mario Circuit. Yep, another basic track, but this one is from the GBA, and holy crap they changed it so much. There's an entire part of the track lifted up by Ultra Hands, an old toy Nintendo used to make, and they turned it into an anti-gravity section. That is an extremely cute detail. However, I never liked this track. It really seems like just another track more than most. I think the fact that it was changed to include the Ultra Hands and also that the legendary Blue Yourself World Record took place here are the only reasons people seem to like this track. What else is there? I have no idea why this always gets picked for online when it's an option. D tier. Cheap Cheap Beach. It's a beach track. The water looks decent. The music is alright. It's just a feel-good track. The layout isn't anything to go,
holy shit!
Over. Not offensive, but nothing groundbreaking. I will say this shot looks wondrous. Look at how the reflections look on the water. C tier. Toad's Turnpike. This is not a good track. It is just another 8, the traffic isn't that threatening, and the music sucks. You can drive on the walls for some reason. I don't know why other than to shoehorn in anti-gravity. The only reason people give this one praise is because it was in Mario Kart 64, which has aged horribly but has a huge nostalgia factor. I may fall under that, but I will point out its faults. D tier. Now into the Banana Cup. Can we start off with a good track, or will we fall further? I slipped on the cup.
Oh fuck! That actually hurt. I'm not doing that again.
Dry Desert. It's fucking Desert Track again! I really don't like it. It just has bland Desert Track written all over it. The Oasis is a nice change of pace and adds a splash of color, but only in one spot, and for not long enough. The weird sand hole is there. They got rid of the plant in there, sadly. The music is alright. Not really anything else to say about it. D tier. Donut Plains 3. Oh, okay. Now this is a glow up, turning an okay track into a damn good one. The only way you can tell this is an SNES track is it being flat and the 3 in the name. This track is beautiful, sounds spectacular, and is really fun to play. I really like cutting this turn by going into the water. For some reason, I don't see many others take that path. The moles at the end are a nice way to spice up the track in the final stretch, and the classic cut-in-the-wall shroom shortcut is here. S tier. Royal Raceway. You could tell me that this is a brand new track in 8, and I wouldn't doubt you at all. It looks stunning. The gimmicks fit the track, and that trumpet in the music. This was my favorite back on the N64, and it is still great here. I love how they turned the big jump where you couldn't do anything into a glider ramp and making you dodge balloons. The only thing I don't like is how you can't drive to Peach's Castle anymore. That would have been a terrific little detail. Yet despite that, this is still an S tier. DK Jungle. It is a very good Donkey Kong track. And why wouldn't it be, as it was originally made by the same people who made the new Donkey Kong Country games, Retro Studios. They helped out with the development of Mario Kart 7, as Nintendo was focused on other stuff at the time. So they made the retro tracks as well as DK Jungle, and they did such a magnificent job. Take this from someone who has never played a Donkey Kong game and doesn't want to. There's a big flower, bongo things, frogs, and there's a really big banana. Actually, wait, no. It's average. It's average. And it ends with a glider ramp past some giant stone thingies that spend too much time looking at Twitter as they scream at you for doing literally nothing. It is a really nice track. B tier. Next up is the Leaf Cup, starting with Wario Stadium. And it seems there is a curse where all Wario Stadiums suck. I really don't like this one. Yes, there is an entirely new section in anti-grab and a new underwater section, but those aren't enough to save a bad track from being bad. The jumps are interesting, I guess, but there isn't much outside of that. Not even the music can save this one, as this track is related with a much more popular track. D tier. Sherbert Land! You know, this track would be cooler with some ice cream to fit the name better. I shouldn't have said that. That aside, this track looks striking. The fireworks in the sky are a really nice touch. The music is very chill, no pun intended. The track layout itself? It's okay. The split paths are cool. I don't use them unless I get hit or something. But it's the thought that counts. C tier. Hey, you wanna see a good track? Music Park. Boom. You're welcome. This track is amazing. The concept of driving on instruments is awesome. And they even play when you drive on them. Big drums, pianos, giant music notes. I don't know what these people were smoking when they came up with that last one. The visuals are astonishing as usual. And for some reason it's called Melody Motorway in Europe. I get why it's called that, but I'm a stubborn bitch, so I prefer Music Park. S tier. Yoshi Valley from Mario Kart 64, released on December 14th, 1996 for the Nintendo 64, released on June 23rd, 1996. Was that confusing? Good, then you know how it feels to look at this track. This track has the gimmick of many split paths. Google Maps ain't gonna be useful here, buddy. Also, egg. The music is alright, but the gimmick carries this track, as well as that patented Nintendo 64 era nostalgia. B tier. Into the Lightning Cup. This was the final cup when the game released back in 2014. So we can expect some of the harder, flashier retro tracks. Starting off with neither of these, Tick Tock Clock! Back on the DS, this track was like if they turned the Mario 64 level into a racetrack. Here, it's just a clock! I never liked this track before, and I sure don't like it now. I don't understand why people hold the remake in high regard. The old one had DS and Mario 64 nostalgia going for it. The remake just has clocks! The music isn't even that good, and I never liked the theme. Taking one of the worst Mario 64 levels and turning it into a track does not fix the problem. F tier. Piranha Plant Side. Oh god, this is good. I love this track. It may be my 7 bias, but this is a very good track. It really feels like you are going into a 1-2 themed sewer. The water slide is really fun. The speed increase from it makes it hard to avoid the Goombas. They are even blue Goombas from Mario 1 too. They nailed the theme. The track then goes into a... I'm not really sure what it is. A nuclear launch site? Do they even have nukes? Anyway, this track is cool and the anti-grav fits very well. That music slaps hard though. And it has both plant and water slide, so it is safe from the false advertising charge. S tier. Grumble Volcano. It is a track, it looks good, the music sucks and they removed the shortcuts that made anyone want to pick it in the first place. There's nothing else I can say. I really don't like this one. D tier. N64 Rainbow Road. The big fan favorite, the one that everyone seems to love. And that love is purely nostalgia based. The anti-grav usage, the music, and the stunning visuals are what carry this track. The layout, however, is kinda trash. Some turns is all this track has to offer, and it feels a bit too short, especially on 200cc. Like it ends about 30 seconds before it should. From the longest track in the franchise to a short stick. This was never a great track, and it getting a full remake is what made me realize that. C tier. We are now in the DLC tracks for 8, bringing us 16 extra tracks, bringing us to the total of 48. Starting off in the Egg Cup with Yoshi's Circuit. This is a really cool track. The design is great, the music is glorious, trumpet bias applies, and the visuals, as usual, are stunning. And man, it is getting annoying saying that about most tracks. I love this one, and that is not even counting the main thing this track has. It's a fucking Yoshi. They made Yoshi fun. Who knew it was possible? S tier. Excite Bike Arena. This is the third track based off of a different Nintendo game. The first two being the Woohoo tracks from 7. This is a good track. The music is a remake of the title theme, and that's really neat. However, the visuals are just okay. Nowhere near bad. But when comparing it to other tracks that will show up later in this DLC, it is one of the lower points. It does have a bit of RNG with the ramps and mud being randomized. That is a cool feature, and I wonder how many combos there are. Oh. Yeah, I'm not getting footage of all that. C tier. Dragon Driftway is fantastic! I love how it looks, the track design is phenomenal, the anti-gravity is used perfectly while driving on Gobblegut from Super Mario Galaxy 2. There are so many details that you can't really see because of how twisty the track is. Just like how Gobblegut was. And the music is amazing! Although, you do go through his mouth and end up on his back somehow. How does he not feel pain while having a hole in his back somewhere? S tier. Mute City was the most Nintendo had acknowledged F-Zero in years. And they hit it out of the park! Reimagining an old track from a different game into one of the best tracks in 8. It looks so good, and the music is amazing. The fact that it is entirely in anti-gravity with underwater physics makes it really fun to drive around. And with the focus on speed, this is one of the few tracks that is better in 200cc. Also, before I move on, this happened in the competition where I got the footage, and let's just say it's aged well.
Oh my gosh, how many horns have you gotten?
You could say that I have an unlimited amount of horny in me.
That one didn't age quite so well.
Always the one who seems slightly off. Anyway, S tier. Crossing the street into the Crossing Cup, where we have walked into a school zone with Baby Park. So those weren't speed bumps that were screaming. It's just an oval. And a small one at that. The appeal of the track is the chaos of 7 laps and items flying everywhere. I don't like that. I do like the flavor items bring to Mario Kart, but I like it when they're balanced. And in most places, it is. Baby Park throws all of that out the window and gives you a bunch of BS to deal with. And even worse, the music is bad! And it speeding up every lap makes it even worse.
I'm going to give you a Super F!
If you're lactose intolerant, I suggest you stay here, because it's time for the rest of us to go to Cheeseland. A GBA remake that is so good. You could fool me that it's an original track. However, they changed the track from being the moon to just a desert. And based on the last one, you know my opinions on those tracks. The layout isn't even shaped like cheese. Such a disappointment. And the music isn't something I would listen to outside of it. Hell, I don't want to listen to it in the track. The cheese doesn't even look like cheese! And they killed the rats! That is unforgivable. D tier. Wild Woods is a better Maple Treeway, and I'm tired of pretending that it isn't. The music is better, the track design is better, the visuals are better, and it has better ideas. Going down a slide, jumping across lily pads, and an entire toad village in the trees. There are so many little details that you just have to look out for, but with how fast you're going, it can be hard to see them sometimes. I love how this track uses anti-gravity. It feels like a reimagined Maple Treeway, so no wonder it's better. S tier. Animal Crossing. This track has the fun thing of having 4 different versions that can be randomly selected. Now I do not care for getting footage of all of them, because I am very lazy. I got spring when recording, so I'll rate based off of this one. It's okay. It looks great as usual for 8. The coins are turned into bells. Other than that, the music is decent, and the track itself is okay. You go through a town based off a New Leaf on the 3DS, with a beach there and a waterfall river thing. It is a track carried by being a crossover track and by having 4 different variations. C tier. Into the Triforce Cup. I wonder what this one could end with. It starts, however, with Wario's Gold Mine. The 3rd Wario track in this game. Who did he have to pay off to make that happen? I mean, he has the gold, yet it still only seems he got good at track design in Mario Kart 7. Yeah, I don't like this track. The music is okay, nothing that special. And the Gold Mine section itself, thankfully, was made better with anti-gravity. And the physics in this game actually make playing as a lightweight on this track not a death sentence. But it isn't enough to save it from being a C tier. Next track we'll be looking at is SNES Rain... Okay, I guess Ice Ice Outpost. This, by far, is one of the worst nitros in the game. Only outdone by 2 others. The ice physics don't feel good on this track. The split path thing is cool, but not enough to save it. The music doesn't really give me vibes of an Arctic drill site. They tried with this, remixing a normal ice track with a drill site theme, but most ice tracks aren't very good, so this was an uphill battle, and they failed. F tier. Alright, now it's time for SNES Rainbow Road. Oh, come on! Okay. Hyrule Circuit. This is a track based on the Legend of Zelda franchise. And the layout may not be that good, with a weird use of anti-gravity, the Master Sword thrown in there, and not much to really show that this is a Zelda track. Despite all that, I love this track. The music is what carries it for me. A live remake of the Zelda theme, and once again, huge trumpet bias, and that is the main instrument used. I love it. S tier. Okay, finally SNES Rainbow Road. The best of the Rainbow Roads in 8. This track is gorgeous. The lighting from the road itself is amazing. I love the remix they gave it. They kept the original feel while using modern instruments. It doesn't just sound like the original. I'm glad that both SNES remakes and 8 actually remixed their music. The layout is iconic with its tight turns and no guardrails. And it's actually kind of funny that the best Rainbow Road in 8 is a remake of the first. S tier. The final cup of Mario Kart 8 is the Bell Cup. Can all the tracks live up to the standard of being in the final one? No, not really. Neo Bowser City is a love it or you hate it kind of track, and I'm a bit split on this one. I like the theme and music, but that rain, man. It creates slippery roads that don't fit well with 8 engines at all, especially in 200cc. Neo Bowser City fits so much better in Mario Kart 7. The rain physics are not as awful there. So as to make sure I don't piss off both sides of the argument, I'll put it in the middle in C tier. Ribbon Road, yet another GBA track that was completely reworked. It is now in a child's bedroom with toys being everywhere. They really went all out on this one visually, and the music is completely different than the original. However, I think this track is carried by its theme and remake visual quality. The gameplay suffers though. I really don't like the wavy roads. Mixed with the anti-gravity, it just becomes a nightmare to stay on the track. It's nowhere near the top tier status that most people hold it to. D tier. Super Bell Subway is another track carried by its theme. It isn't anything special, guys. Just go anywhere with the subway and you can experience the same thing. All there is to it is train. Who thinks this is peak track design? Oh, you do. Well, now you have to explain yourself with 2 dumb decisions. Anyway, the music really doesn't give me Subway vibes. Like, where is the sax battle? Yes, when you are by the trains, 1-2 sneaks its way in there, but nothing else of value is there, in the design or music. I don't even have to bring up how it looks, because at this point, all of them look fantastic. C tier. To end up this cup of mid, we actually have a good track. Big Blue is another crossover with F-Zero. They really love the track concepts, but really hate making these games. Once again, the music slaps hard, and the sax, once again, goes way harder than it has any right to. This is another section track, so you start off on the top, then you drive by some conveyors, and you end up in a water slide, where if you're skilled enough at the game, you can pull off some pretty neat shortcuts here. I am not. The next part makes up for it though. You get shot out of a cannon type thing and all of a sudden you're driving under a ceiling of water. Yet another great use of anti-gravity. Man, I really hope any future games or DLC uses anti-gravity in creative ways such as this. And what is this going on in the background? So much detail for something you will see for less than a second. To end off the track you have more conveyors, a split path section, and one last push with no items. Just pure skill to take you to the finish. This is a wonderful way to round off Mario Kart 8. And I am proud to say that we are ending off with one final S tier. Now this was a fun experience. I can't wait for the next game. Hey, what does that button do? There's 48 more tracks? Are you kidding? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe released on the Nintendo Switch on April 28, 2017, and it brought with it a revamped battle mode with no new normal tracks. That is until the February 2022 Nintendo Direct, where it was announced that we would be getting 48 more tracks. They really wanted to make all ranking videos outdated, huh? Now these tracks are all ripped from the mobile game, Mario Kart Tour, so the bitching is only going to ramp up. If you already want to cancel me on Twitter for these takes, dislike the video and keep watching. And subscribe if you like what you've seen so far. It's only going to get worse from here. Also, my script tells me to find a clever way to plug in the Discord server. So this is the clever way of plugging in the Discord server. I have a Discord. If you want to join it, it's in the description. Wait, I just realized that I showed it at the beginning. Now let's take some shrooms and start into the Golden Dash Cup with Paris Promenade. Promenade, however you pronounce it. This is a tour track, and most of the tour nitros are based off of real-life cities, and have multiple variants. So what did they do? They put them all into one, with each lap changing the direction you go. In this track, you go on a turn, then a glide over a fountain, and pause. This looks disgusting. How did they screw up this badly? After hating the view, you go under the Eiffel Tower, except I don't because taking this left route is faster. But both paths meet at a plant in one turn. Lap 3 is where the lap changes. Instead, you turn right and go in reverse. Still doesn't save the track from having a bad layout. This is not the worst city track, but nowhere near the best. Not even the music can save this one. Isn't that good. C tier. Toad Circuit. What the fuck is this? This is the starter track from 7, so why is it the 50th track added to this game? Of all the basic bitch courses, heck, even in 7, why this one? And it looks bad! That grass looks like a cheap green screen. There is no texture here. How is the 3DS version of this track the best looking version? And I just praised the retro tracks for looking amazing! The layout is even worse! A turn, and then a straight, and sometimes a glider ramp? Not much to say. The music is the only good thing about this track. It is a good remix. C tier. Choco Mountain. A good track? It doesn't look bad. There are good changes to the track. For example, Assemble Straightaway was turned into a gliding section, and they removed some walls to actually make it seem like you are on a mountain. They turned the cave into an actual cave. I like this track. The music is fun and it fits the track. I am already conflicted on this DLC. I really hope they don't flip-flop on the quality the entire time. B tier. Coconut Mall, a huge fan favorite. You go in a mall and go out to avoid cars. So just like a normal mall. They did make the escalators really easy to figure out, so that's a bummer. Now the visual differences aren't that popular, like the orange flooring. However, I personally like it. It adds a huge splash of color. The stair changes, turning it from gray cheese graters to a nice blue ramp with pixel art on the walls. It's really pleasant to look at. The music is great as always. However, I never understood the massive hype on this track. It's a good track, but the best of all time? No. This is a B tier. Moving out of the Mushroom Kingdom after we got our groceries, we are going to Japan. In the Lucky Cat Cup with Tokyo Blur. This is another tour track. However, this is one I absolutely love. Yes, it looks ugly. However, that soundtrack. I don't know what it is, but it hits different than any other city track. I love how the turns feel, the shortcut ramp, and the final big turn before you glide to the finish. All 3 laps have something new to see. This is just a good track, and please put your pitchforks down. S tier. Going into the countryside, we have Shroom Ridge. Sure, yet again, this track looks bad. A simple grass texture would do wonders. This is the second traffic track in 8 Deluxe, and the first good one at that. The music is amazing and a big step up from Toad's Turnpike. This is a remake done right. Mostly. A glider ramp was put in randomly in the slab of concrete, and a fan was put in a gap, and with a mushroom, it can be jumped. A tier. Looking up from the road and going into the sky, Sky Garden. I'm not even going to mention how it looks. This is just a fun map to play on, though. The leaf jump, the mushroom, the cut through the bean, and the final glide down to the finish. This is one I can forgive the layout being different from the original. Why? Because I said so. The music is phenomenal. I love those trumpets. Gee, I wonder why. This is an amazing track. A tier. After having my head in the clouds all day, I turn around and find Ninja Hideaway. This track is the gimmick of many split paths that honestly make it feel more like a custom track. You can tell it was made for an on-rails mobile racing game. But this is still an alright track. And finally, another good Wario track. We've had a 50-50 split of Wario tracks. The music doesn't scream Wario though. I guess to get a good Wario track, he needs to put his ego on hold. B tier. After all that, it's time to eat my vegetables. Why not turnips in a cup? And just like vegetables, let's have something that tastes awful with New York Minute. I hate this track. Never liked it. The music sucks. All 3 variants are awful. I can't say anything good about this track. I mean, look at these big-ass cars placed here. What is the point? You know what? This is going in a tier lower than Super F, called How in God's Name Are You Worse Than Baby Park? Mario Circuit. No, not Mario Circuit or Mario Circuit. Mario Circuit. It looks better than Toad Circuit, but barely. This is the most uncalled for track in the past. Out of all the SNES tracks they could have picked. Hell, out of all the Mario Circuits, why this one? Fan favorites from across the series, my ass. Mario Circuit 2 fits that much better. Even after all this track is still fun on 200. Surprisingly. The turns are fun to do. Although, this was all done on 150, so it isn't that good here. C tier. Calamari Desert. It's a desert track, so it already has points off. Not only that, it's empty, so it has even more points off. And there's also a train. Man, this track isn't that good. Yes, the track changes on the second lap and you can go in the tunnel, but that and the train is all this track has, and all the train nuts love it. I personally don't like it very much. Sorry, train lovers, having one in a track doesn't make it the best of all time. D tier.
Waluigi Pinball.
This is a fan favorite for an okay reason. It has a pinball theme, and everyone describes it as you race on the pinball table. But very little time is spent on said pinball table. Oh, you're just driving on the rail the pinball is driving on. I don't think so, because you can see it when you come out of the cannon. So it's not the same thing. The music is a bit disappointing, since back on the DS it shared the same music as Wario Stadium. And instead of making a new remix to fit this track, they just yoinked the music from Wario Stadium, making this the first track in 8 to share a song. That is sad. The track looks alright. Nothing special. The lighting carries it. C tier. Alright, time to get high in the Propeller Cup. We were going so high that we went upside down into Australia and in Sydney Sprint. This track is yet another one that looks okay. This park section really doesn't do it any favors. However, driving through the Sydney Opera House, where you get to see a Paper Mario-ass looking audience, and then flying out onto a turn and driving by a train station, I think it is all really nice. The layout is really great. However, that music fucking slaps! That sax, man. Take a listen. I love it. S tier. Moving away from the heat of the music, we are cooling down and going into Snowland. This is a GBA glow up done right. You start on an icy bridge, and that ice carries over to the rest of the track. Next, you go into a small forest while item boxes slide along the road. After that, you turn onto an icy lake with the hole and penguin sliding onto it. After a quick jump onto the road, a quick turn, and a mostly straight road, you turn back onto the bridge to finish the lap. This simple layout is very fun to play, and even has a shortcut on 200. Also, the penguins are the best part of this. B tier. We are now heading into my bedroom, Mushroom Gorge. Thank God they kept the rock color the same, otherwise this track would look so much worse than it already does. The music hasn't changed since the Wii version, so I can't comment on how the remake is. The cave now has a glider shroom. The gap cut is back, but you won't see it from me since I'm not skilled enough to do it in 150. Other than that, it's the same old Mushroom Gorge that we all know and love. B tier. Sky High Sunday. Hey, remember when I said it would be cool to see some ice cream in a track? I regret saying that because this track sucks! The music is not that good. It looks like Kirby's Dream Buffet in terms of colors and theme, even though Kirby's Dream Buffet has better textures. And the layout is a fucking circle! Honestly, fuck this map. Just go play Dream Buffet instead, or go watch Savage Gamer's videos on it. Links in description. Anyway, F tier. Leaving Kirby's Dreamland and heading into the Rock Cup, onto a rock in the middle of the ocean with London Loop, yet another city track. And after several revisions to this part of the script, I can't say anything interesting about this track. It could be because I'm writing this part on 5 hours of sleep, or it could just be because there's really nothing interesting about this track. There's this one part where you can cut a single mushroom on 200, so that's something, I guess. D tier. Boo Lake. Oh, thank God, something less scary than England. I can't be stabbed here. This is another GBA remake done right. There is an actual lake, and there's an anti-gravity section. The first one in the DLC. Sadly, you don't go on the wall or go upside down in any of the DLC tracks, but it's nice that they're here, I guess. And this actually looks kinda decent. A step closer to the base game, but there's still many more steps to go. Having Luigi's Mansion in the background is a nice touch. The music is really nice, and that's all I really have to say. B tier. Rock Mountain. A 3DS remake gone so wrong. At least in terms of the visual department. I don't understand why they keep changing the gray rocks to the ugly orange. Anyway, going to the track itself, it's still fun. I love the massive gliding segment. There's even a shortcut you can do through the grass with a mushroom. However, they turned the end into an anti-gravity section, which is a change I don't like. The original made it seem like the only way you were getting up the mountain was the sheer speed of the boost panels. Here it doesn't seem that special anymore. Jumping off with a glider ramp immediately after is still cool though. The music is really fantastic though. It really adds a rock to Rock Mountain, B tier. Maple Treeway. Oh hey, this track is here now. So now we can compare this and Wild Woods. This track is yet another one that was butchered on the way to 8 Deluxe. The water in the cannon shot just looks ugly. Where's the reflection of the tree? This brings it down for me. I don't like how the visuals bring so many of these down. It's sad. Layout is the exact same as the past 2 versions, but with significantly less details than them. This track does have wigglers, so that's something. You don't bounce on them anymore, so that sucks. They brought back the half pipes, but the camera sucks when you take it. The bridge is still gone, and I'm okay with that. And honestly, the music was better on Wii. A track that does not fully deserve the top tier status it's held to today. At least not this version. C tier. On to the Moon Cup. Apparently Germany is in space, because we are jumping right into Berlin byways. The music is incredible. I love the jazz Eurobeat fusion. Okay, it's time to bitch. Once again, this looks ugly. What the fuck is with those trees? The road is so big that it is extremely easy to dodge the cars, unless you're on one specific turn. There's a train here for some reason. Don't go for it. It's slower than the main path. I have no other words for this track. Other than the music, this track is very forgettable. C tier. Peach Gardens. Whoo boy! Time to put another bounty on my back. I never liked this track. Theme of Gardens I never liked. The music isn't really that good. I hate it personally. I don't like the gardens. The chain jumps in there aren't a threat, and that's all this track has. This track was in the Lightning Cup of Mario Kart DS, and it does not deserve that fame. The twist of going backwards on the third lap this version introduced isn't that cool. And to top it all off, this still looks ugly. Honestly, reusing a grass texture from base 8 and making the color a darker shade of green would go a long way. The only thing I like about this track is that you can give Luigi a high five when you go backwards. F tier. Merry Mountain. Oh boy, it's Christmas, even though it is April 25th when I'm reading this. This track is certainly a track of all time. It exists, so it gets point there. The Christmas theme is nice, the music is better, and the visuals are surprising. How the hell does it look this good? In the past 22 tracks have looked awful. It still isn't base 8, but it's the closest we've gotten. Another anti-gravity section in half-pipe. It's cool, I guess. I much prefer the shortcut. And, unpopular opinion, I find no problem with the ending. It's a nice test of skill. Big Blue did something similar with nothing of worth at the end, but I don't see anyone complaining about that. B tier. 3DS Rainbow Road. Yet another Rainbow Road. The 4th one in this game, to be exact. The music is the best part of this track. I do like the road color, but this track is the best on the 3DS. The adventure you have is still the same, driving around planets, going around Saturn's rings, driving on the moon and then into this tube. However, this layout is better in 7. Take a look at this. Like, what the hell happened to the verticality? This is awful. They cut it in half. Also, look at the final turn! It used to be like 89 degrees! Now it's more like 60. The changes to the verticality are inexcusable for me and really brings it down. D tier. After leaving space, I'm feeling a little hungry. Let's have some fruit in a cup. Starting with Amsterdam Drift. This is one of my least favorite city tracks. I despise the music. Look at the grass and those PS1 looking ass flowers. Also, why the fuck are there no textures on these buildings? The underwater sections aren't that fun to play. They just feel like shovelware found on the 3DS eShop. Well, not anymore. And to top it all off, the city doesn't even drift. More false advertising. Should have gone to the Joy-Cons class of drift. F tier. Riverside Park. Yet another GBA remake done right. And Nintendo finally learned what a grass texture is. Woo! Joked aside, this map looks fantastic. The rocking grass textures, the skybox, the water, it all looks amazing. The music is somehow even better. Of course, there is trumpet bias, but I don't care. Starting in a bridge, then turns onto another bridge, and then going into a cave, and jumping out to the finish. Now this is a remake. B tier. DK Summit. This is the second best track in the cup. The music is just phenomenal, and the track is faithful to how it was on Wii. The half-pipes are still jank, but in different ways. Yes, it doesn't look that good, but it still looks better than all the tracks from Waves 1 through 3. And you can still do the classic cut, which again you won't see here because I suck. The thick snow still slows you down, and the Shy Guys on snowboards are back. Apparently this was an asset ripped from Base 8 from the background of Mount Wario, so it's a little confusing to see what they deem as okay to take from 8. Other than that, it's the same track we know and love, S tier. Yoshi's Island. This is a masterpiece. I love it. The music is a remake of a song in the original Yoshi's Island, and once you finish the race, there's another remake. And god damn are they phenomenal! On the actual track design, you go through so many locations. A nice plains, an incredibly small forest, a lake that goes into a castle, which then leads up a mountain, which then shoots you to the cloud, and one simple U-turn later, you glide back down to the plains, and one turn later, you've completed a lap. But you can hit this question cloud and get a new road to drive on before the final turn. The visuals even fit! The art style that the Booster Course Pass has really fits the Yoshi's Island style. I love this track. S tier. Well, I'm done with my fruit. Let's just throw this boomerang and see what happens. Funny name aside, Bangkok Rush is a track. It is yet another city track that exists. There sure are a lot of them. The sunset isn't as vibrant as the tour version. The part with the running water is fun, I guess. I don't have any comments for this one. It is very forgettable. In fact, the main thing I hear with people talking about this is the plants they removed. It's almost like nothing is really interesting about this one. D tier. Mario Circuit, not to be confused with Mario Circuit or Mario Circuit or Mario Circuit, but Mario Circuit. This is another one that was not asked for. Yet a funny guy predicted it over Airship Fortress, and then all hell broke loose when it turns out they were right. However, it was better than expected. The forest section is actually really nice to look at and a good change of pace from the rest of the track. There's even a wiggler. I think it really fits well here. Other than the forest, we have a pipe tunnel, that's interesting, some plants that spit at you, ew, a castle that you can't go into, curses, and yeah, that's about it. The music is extremely nice, a fusion of new and old. The mix of synth and trumpets is really nice to hear. B tier. Waluigi Stadium is an amazing track and it actually looks like something from the first 48, who would have thought? That mud texture looks amazing, and I like the new skybox. Taking place at night fits better in my opinion. Also, the half-pipes function here. They even added shortcuts if you take them. You can glide over the finish line instead of one small jump. And once again, that song fucking slaps! Wario should take stadium building lessons from his brother. This is a good track. S tier. Singapore Speedway. This is one of the better city tracks. There are so many parts that give a wow factor. The cannon shot, the flight down from the building, the city part that looks different from the rest of the track that I don't want to try and incorrectly name, and the part with the water shooting up. The music is something else to note. To me, it just sounds like another rave song, but failing to live up to Berlin Byways and Electrodome. Also, for a speedway, I'm seeing a lack of minimum speed signs. Come on, this isn't the Autobahn. B tier. The boomerang from the last cup has also hit a bird. It dropped a feather. And that feather fell into a cup in Athens. Dash. Athens Dash is one of the most overrated city courses of all time. Oh, but it takes place in ruins and has a unique layout. You know what other course does those things? Thwomp Ruins. I don't see any of you claiming it's the best ruins track of all time. Let's look at this layout that everyone seems to love. Holy shit, this looks awful. What are those trees? The buildings somehow look worse than Amsterdam. Play-Doh-ass looking background houses. What's the level of detail in Mute City? It being in a background is not an excuse to look bad. I can't even fully focus on racing because this looks so bad. It's that jarring. Even then, the racing isn't even that good. It just seems like they pressed the make track button, but someone spilled coffee on the machine halfway through it working. And the music is bad. Just because it takes place in ruins doesn't make it good. D tier. Daisy Cruiser, a GCN classic. However, since I did not grow up with Double Dash, you will not get praise from me. This is a track that takes place on a cruise ship, and that is unique, but nothing screams Daisy here, and that's like her whole thing. There are Goombas in the pool now. Okay. The tables still move, and there are people in them this time. That's kind of cool. Below deck is still an aquarium. Interesting. After all that, Not much else to mention. The music is pleasant though. Those violins are really nice on the ears. C tier. Moonview Highway, the third traffic course of the game, and by far the best one. That Eurobeat track for the highway and smooth jazz while in the city is fantastic. Definitely some of my favorite music tracks in the game. The layout may be a bit simple, I mean, look at that. But everything that is going on more than makes up for it. The cars, the driving bombs. I wonder if they're going to Sunshine Airport. I can't forget the dash panels. The speed mixed with trying to dodge cars is really fun. And I'm not distracted by how it looks. The lighting is amazing. A tier. Squeaky Clean Sprint. I am once again going to piss off a lot of people, but this track is kind of bad. The low poly models, the unfun jank of the track, and the mediocre music just add up to a track that I just don't really like. I think the main thing that everyone likes about it is that it's a brand new track. That and it also takes place in a bathroom. I don't see the appeal. Bathrooms are for taking a shit, which would explain why the models look the way they do. D tier. I'm reading the transition for going from the Feather Cup to the Double Cherry Cup, and it's not good, so we're going in the Cherry Cup now. Los Angeles Labs. This city track is more like a section-based track, probably because it is. The music is better than the tour version in my opinion. I like the sax. This is a track that is a bit mixed on the reception. I have no opinion on it, other than it looks bad. I do like how you glide over a baseball stadium, and there is an ugly brown oil field for some reason. Yeah, that's kinda it. Just like the real LA, the only reason people care about this track is Hollywood. D tier. Sun Wilds. Honestly, for an original track, they could have done worse, but for all in all, this is alright. Is what I would say if this was a brand new track. This isn't. This is the worst GB8 remake in the game. It is mostly flat until a few hills at the end. Can't forget this ugly looking mud. Why not put some of the Waluigi Stadium mud? It might not fit, but it would be better to look at than what we got. And the biggest offender, they removed the only thing that made this track interesting. The sunset.
You had one job. Just the one?
In the GBA version, the sun set throughout the laps. By the final lap, it was night. Here, the sun stays put. If they could get it to work in Tour, they could have gotten it to work here. They even removed a turn from the original. Not even the music can save this mistake. F tier. Koopa Cape. Yet another track that does not benefit from having the orange walls. Why do they keep doing this? However, this is my favorite track of all time. The Wii and 7 versions of it, that is. Those rocks and lack of Big Koopa really bring it down in my eyes. However, this is still a good track. All three variations of the song are incredible, and the layout is still Koopa Cape. The river section is a joy to drive through. Sadly, the tube is still worse without the electric bars. However, it's still fun. Just not as fun as it could have been. Bring back the electric bars, Nintendo. I want to try and not shock myself, Nintendo. B tier. Vancouver Velocity. This track is overhyped and peaks at the first lap. You go into a forest, go on an anti-gravity bridge, and then glide down, take another turn, and then you completed the first lap. After this, you go by a pond, go through an ice skating rink, and then go through the ice skating rink again on the third lap. The music isn't anything to write home about either. I don't understand why this track is so hyped up. Unless it's because of Vancouver Velocity fan. It might be him. You all need to stop listening to Big Brother up there. B tier. Rome Avanti is the first cup of the Acorn Cup, and it's another city track, alright. But they actually learned what a brick texture is. Holy shit, you have no idea how much nicer it is to look at now. The music is just alright. The layout is honestly not that interesting. Yeah, going through the Coliseum twice is cool. That's all there is. A circle, and then some chain jobs. That's the unique thing. There are some Monty moles as well as some fuzzies in one part. The ugly trees from Athens Dash are back. Classic Rome. Stealing things from the Mediterranean. C tier. DK Mountain. Another DK track, but this is the DK track. I really like this track. The drums and the music are still amazing. It looks really damn good for a track ported from a phone. The gravel texture on the mountain is one of the best I have seen. The half pipes has returned, and so has the gap cut. And the Get Mario Karted bridge. Can't wait to see that clip get recreated in 8. S tier. Daisy Circuit. Yet another one that is predicted by that one guy. They seem to have a knack for this. Now this track is a circuit alright. The lighthouse area with the boost panels are nice to see. They added a glide ramp in the building shortcut. It's fun to take. I'm surprised they knew how to use some good textures. The bush models still look like ass though. And the music is honestly worse here. I like the flutes, but I wish they stuck around throughout the whole song, as well as keeping the piano from the original. Could have been better, could have been worse, but definitely Daisy. Do you think she asked Luigi if those statues could be put up? He might be trapped with someone with attachment issues. Poor Luigi. B tier. Piranha Plant Cove, a track that could have done more with its theme. Also, there are very few piranha plants here. You have bone ones, stick those underwater. I don't think they would get overhydrated. The music doesn't sound that changed from Tor. Just go listen to the one by Deluxe Tegorb instead. The theme of underwater piranha plant ruins is cool. I just wish they did more with it. The ruins are okay with what we have, but it's kinda underwhelming to see that they aren't as expansive as I hoped. What we got just kinda feels like they had to deal with the combines of a mobile game and couldn't go as big as they wanted. Oh wait, C tier. Into the final cup now, and thank Christ we are almost done. Into the Spiny Cup with Midriff Drive. This is an okay track. Certainly a city track of all time. Man, there really are a lot of those here. I don't like this one. The music is just alright, and where you go isn't that special. Oh wow, a plaza, a museum, a football stadium with some Goomba shoes kicking the ball. Okay, you know what, that's kind of cool. Other than the shoes kicking the balls, there isn't really too much to see. C tier. Rosalina's Ice World did it. It gave us a good 3DS remake in this DLC. The music is such a good remake of what came before. Those sweet hums, I love it. And I gotta be honest, I love the ice texture here. It just looks so smooth. I do wish that we got some more colors other than the same tone of blue, but this is still fantastic. They even added half pipes after that one turn that everyone says is hard for some reason. They even turned the planet from the background into an actual 3D model. This is just a good remake. S tier. Bowser Castle 3. Finally, a retro Bowser's Castle in this game after 10 damn years. But what a one to remake! Not only is this the first ever SNES Bowser's Castle remake, it is the first SNES track with anti-gravity. It's also the first one with actual elevation. When building this for Tor, it seems they had it with 8 in mind. They may have redone it all from the ground up, but you can still tell what track this is. The music is an incredible rock remix. I love that guitar. And did I mention that this track is the best looking one in the DLC? It looks better than the worst looking track in 8. S tier. Absolutely no debate on this one. Wii Rainbow Road. They did it. They made another road. How many more until they run out of ideas? You go wee on this one. I love this track, the music, the visuals, and the layout. Unlike 3DS Rainbow Road, this doesn't feel compromised at all. The visuals are incredible. Definitely the best looking Rainbow Road in the game, as well as the best Rainbow Road out of the 5 in this game. The part with the holes, the cannon up, the mandatory half pipe, and the part after the split paths are all a joy to play. The music is such a good remix. I can't really describe it, just take a listen. Chef's Kiss. We have had some takes that aren't that popular, but let's end it with something that I think we can all agree on, with Wii Rainbow Road getting a well-deserved S tier. Here is the completed tier list, and thank you for watching this all the way through all 44 pages of bullshit. If you agreed with any of my placements, let me know in the comments below. Maybe join the Discord while you're there. The footage in the background was a completion I held with some folks in there. Most of them are still there. So if you want to join in on future things, we'll be happy to have you there. And if you want to see a video on the completion, check the description. I got it out way before this. Once again, shout out to YouTuber Shintos for inspiring me to do this in the first place. Also thank you to these guys as well, who have inspired me in many ways throughout this entire process. And thank you as well. Not just for watching to the end, but for staying through this entire process. It has not been fun, and I do not plan to do another video of this scale for a long time. I do have a lot of videos I want to make, so please, stick around. I promise it will be worth it. This is a new era. I'm gonna be an adult, have a job, and more time to make this stuff for you guys. I can't wait to share what I do next with you guys. And with that being said, I'll see you all in the next one.